I'd like to address what is probably the most important question about the 144,000. And that question is, why do I need to know about it? We read in Revelation 7, "And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree." What do these winds represent? The prophet Jeremiah told us what would happen at the end of the world, and he said in chapter 25, 30 and 31, "A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for the Lord hath a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. And the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground." This world will come to a very dramatic end. And how will God protect the ones that love Him? Isaiah says in chapter 26, verses 20 and 21, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh out of His place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain." It says here that God will invite His people to shelter while the indignation is passing over. What does that mean? What indignation? Well, another word for it is anger or wrath. And sure enough, it's the 7 last plagues. Look at this in Revelation 15, verse 1. "And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God." I think we need some encouragement after reading all that. So what can encourage us in view of what's going to happen? One of my favorite verses is Jude, verse 24. "Now unto Him that is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of His glory with exceeding joy." Early writings warns us about a danger that we need to watch out for. It says, "Satan is now using every device in this sealing time to keep the minds of God's people from the present truth and to cause them to waver. I saw a covering that God was drawing over His people to protect them in the time of trouble. And every soul that was decided on the truth and was pure in heart was to be covered with the covering of the Almighty." Satan knew this, and he was at work in mighty power to keep the minds of as many people as he possibly could wavering and unsettled on the truth. These days, it seems like everything that can shake us is trying to shake our faith in God and in the present truth. I found another note in Manuscript Releases, Volume 8, that says, "I saw Satan would work more powerfully now than ever he has before. He knows that his time is short and that the sealing of the saints will place them beyond his power. He will now work in every way that he can and will try his every insinuation to get the saints off from their guard and get them asleep on the present truth or doubting it, so as to prevent their being sealed with the seal of the living God." When I think about this, it really makes me stop and wonder, what kind of choices should I make every day to be ready? I think about what the Apostle Peter said in 2 Peter chapter 3, where he said, "Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless we, according to His promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of Him in peace, without spot and blameless." Right now is the time to be receiving the seal of God. The sealing time has already been going on for a long time. It's hard to fathom, but way back when early writings was written, we were told that the sealing time would be very short. Look at this. The sealing time is very short and will soon be over. Now is the time, while the 4 angels are holding the 4 winds, to make our calling and election sure. So, my friend, that's why this subject is important. You and I, and every person on this planet, needs to understand the sealing message. We need to have the seal in order to be ready for the plagues in the second coming. You might have heard this well-known statement that says, "Let us strive with all the power that God has given us to be among the 144,000. I hope this series has given you something to think about, and I look forward to standing with you and hearing God's covenant of peace and waiting together for Jesus to come and to say, "Lo, this is our God. We have waited for him, and he will save us." Until then, keep looking up.